Hey, going guys, AJ from Frantic Nerdcast here, and today we're going to be painting a mini, and that mini is the Aile Strike Gundam from the Gundam Assemble Game, which came with the Gundam TCG starter set. So let's start it off. First off, we are going to cover the base because I didn't want to do anything special with the base. I just wanted to keep it nice and black. So we are covering it with some tape so it doesn't get covered. Then we're going to go outside and we're going to spray paint this thing with some white spray paint. This is just the cheapest white I could find. Nothing special. So then what we're going to do is we're going to get some Army Painter speed paints and we're going to do all the base colors in that. Because I'm lazy and this stuff does a good job of getting deep in those crevices. So first off, we're going to smash the whole thing with the white. This is going to help put, well, shade in all the crevices. And it kind of gives it a little bit of texture and stuff, but, you know, makes it look pretty. As you can see right here, look at that. It looks pretty. So next, we're going to continue with the base coats, and we're going to get the black. So this model, if I based this on the actual Bandai, like 144, etc. model kits, and this is what a lot of them kind of looked like, so I decided to jump into all the crevices and stuff like that and put this black in there, help bring out the inner skeleton and stuff. And then also doing the backs of the wings here, and next up you'll see we're also going to do the backs of these little jetpack things on it, and make them pop out. So I'll let you watch this. Look how pretty it looks. Very nice model, I must say. It's a very, very nice model. Okay, next up, we are going to jump into some reds, and we're going to do his boots, the bottom of his boots. We're going to do the wings, the top of the wings, the top of the jet things, a little bit of his chest, and make them look all nice and red. The beautiful thing about Gundam is it's got a very simple palette, which just makes it easy. Speaking of Gundam, what's your favourite Gundam? Chuck it in the comments below. My personal favourite has to be Seed and Seed Destiny, and then Iron Blood Orphans. They are some fantastic storytelling. Love it. We've talked multiple times about Gundam in the podcast, so you can probably go check that out. Here I'm just chucking into the shield, just doing that, and then we've got the chest here. Oh, sorry, this is more the belly than the chest. The chest we'll do later. This is the belly. And then we're going to move on to the wings and the little jetpack things. There's the jetpack things right there. Get it all deep in them crevices. Like, watch out, there's like a little part there we're going to paint yellow soon. So we just want to try and avoid that, especially with these speed paints, because they do have a tendency to bleed into each other. So just make sure everything's dry before you kind of move on to the next color. I like to get a hairdryer and just dry those things. And that's the red done. Next we are gonna move on to blue, I believe. Give me blue. There it is. So now we're doing just his big chest plate, and there's not much blue on this one. It's really only that. And that's the blue done. That's pretty much. You could really leave the model there if you wanted to. Oh, besides this part, sorry. The yellow, we're using some G-Dub yellow here, and because I find the G-Dub yellow is a lot better than the Army Painter yellow. It's a lot more pigmented, and it just really pops with this contrast paint. Any mistakes with it as well, you can just use your finger to kind of clean up. I made a little mistake there, as you can see, so you just kind of get your finger in there and just wipe it off, like that. Just doing the final touch of the yellow on his shield. So it was mainly just the shield, the horns, and those little sort of air vents in the back there that I did in yellow. Now I wanted to do like what you do in the model kits. you get some ink and you like water it down a fair bit. And then I kind of just went around all the crevices where like the different plates would be touching each other on the model, and kind of just took my time and just went into all the edges and just try to make it look like they're separate instead of just one piece. It can be a bit tricky because it is a fairly small model, so because of how watered down it is, you can kind of get it in there pretty deep and then just use your finger to sort of dab it away. I think I do it here in a second. And yeah, just dab that away, the parts that are a bit excess, and then just try and reapply it. Just take your time and you should be good. So that's basically it for the contrast or speed paints, whatever you want to call them. So now I'm kind of going over the top of everything again. I more use the speed paints and contrast paints as a base coat to get all deep in the crevices. And now I'm just kind of going over all the flat panels. So this is a mixture of white and grey. It's more leaning on the white side, but just not bright white, because I wanted to use the bright white as a highlight. So this is more just like a off greyish white, like a bluish, not really bluish white, but like an off greyish white. So I kind of go around on all the panels and try and get all the flat parts, trying to keep that shading from the speed paint that we did at the start in all the crevices. Again, take your time with this, because this part, if you stuff it up, it is a lot harder to get it off the model, because it will kind of stain all your parts you've done previously. So just take your time, get all the panels, make it look nice. This is going to make it pop. Now, one thing about me, as you can probably tell from watching this video, I'm not a great painter. I'm an okay painter, not a great painter. But one thing, and I've always said this, you've got to keep in mind, this thing is not big. And when you're standing at a table, and this thing is on the table, and you're playing with it, from the distance you're standing, that's all the detail you need it to look good at. We're not going for golden demons or anything like that. You're just trying to make it look pretty on a table. And that's always been kind of my standard. And to me, this thing looks pretty on a table. So now we're going to do the exact same thing we just did with that off-white. We're just using a darker blue, and I'm just going over the chest and making sure that chest looks nice. This also gives it a bit of solidness, because the speed paints and the contrast paints, they tend to leave like a texture, like a painted texture over the top of it, and it's not to my liking really. So I do that, and then this part here, I've just gotten like a fairly vibrant sky blue, and I'm just touching the edges just to try and give those edges a bit more detail, help make them pop a bit. And now we're doing the exact same thing, but with the reds. So this one is, we're just going over each panel, trying to keep all those deep crevices and just making those reds pop now. Again, this is going to help hide that kind of staining that contrast paints and speed paints do. Now, my speed paints are also version 1 of Army Painter's speed paints, which I've heard they've changed the formula, which makes them a little bit better, I understand, but they still do the job. Some of them, I'm not a massive fan of some of the colours, but some of the colours are chef's kiss. One of the things I would also recommend for anyone out there that loves painting their minis, paints a lot of minis, I recommend getting a miniature holder. So you can see it here in the shot, the blue thing that I'm holding. You put your base in it, and it makes it so you don't have to constantly touch the base and you're not bumping the model and stuff. Now this one is 3D printed. I It was on Thingiverse. I've printed heaps of them. But yeah, they're a lifesaver. Get one if you don't have one. So now I'm doing the exact same thing I did with the blue, but I'm doing it with like a pinkish red to try and just pick up those edges of some of the red spots that might have highlights and stuff. Helps kind of bring out the panels a little bit more. I did it on the shield a little bit, but it kind of went a bit messy on the shield. I'm not happy with the shield really, but it did the job. And I did it on the shoes as well. And then a little bit on the chest, just to help separate the panels really. And all I'm really doing is just putting paint on it and then sort of rubbing it along the edge, trying to just pick the edge up, not really trying to smash a heap of paint on it. So now we're getting grey and a white again. This time we're more leaning probably 50-50, and I'm just taking most of the paint off my brush, and I've got a nice soft brush, and I'm just trying to dry brush all the black parts, and just trying to pick up little bits of detail to help it so it's not so solid black, help bring out the fingers and stuff like that. And it worked. It was very subtle, but I think it really helped. And now we're just there's a little stand on the bottom of his foot that helps hold him on the base. So I just thought, I'm just going to make it like it's a beam of a spaceship or something. So I just painted it like a chrome, like a bolt metal chrome kind of color. And then I'm just going to grab a homemade black wash, and I'm just going to wash it to give it some texturiness to it. And that will be the model pretty much. There's the wash. That'll pretty much be the model done. So are you going to be playing Gundam Assemble? That is the question. When it comes out next year, I am personally a huge Gundam fan, so I'm very much looking forward to Gundam Assemble, and I cannot wait. Oh, it's going to be awesome. But are you going to play it? Chuck in the comments if you're going to play it. And yeah, I cannot wait. So here's the finished model. That's the Gundam spinning around in circles there. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Like I said, not the best painter, but I'm happy with my skill level, and I think this Gundam turned out well. If you got this far, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you head down on the YouTube and look at a lot of the videos. We've got heaps of podcasts. We release a podcast every week. So yeah, check it out, and we'll see you next time on Frantic Nerdcast.